on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. You know who it is by now.
Jimothy.
So ladies and gents, I have been trawling through the back streets of Twitter and I have come across Yu-Gi-Oh! Anonymous post. Now I am on Twitter, so definitely give me a follow. Leave my link in the description box below. So Yu-Gi-Oh! Anonymous post, this is an interesting page, mainly because it has some hot takes on specific Yu-Gi-Oh! Topics. Now it talks about like a range of things like Master Duel, specific cards, specific interactions, ban lists, literally everything about Yu-Gi-Oh! There's an opinion on it, and it does make for some interesting reads, especially like when you go into the comment section and you can see people like having a discussion, sometimes having an argument, and it's a nice little spicy to get involved with. Sometimes I'll just sit there myself and I'm kind of like replying to a few people and I'm having a discussion about Yu-Gi-Oh! Which is, I find interesting and interactive. But anyway, we've got a post here and it's from the 2nd of June by Yu-Gi-Oh! Anonymous post, and they say combo players only hate Floodgates because it does what their deck is trying to do with less steps and doesn't lose to one hand trap. Now I thought it was super interesting because it opens up a conversation about Floodgates and about the necessity within the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! So in short, combo players will always hate on Floodgates, mainly because comboing off does take a level of skill, especially when you're comboing off through like established boards or potentially through multiple hand traps. It's really difficult to do so, especially when you've got a combo deck that has multiple decision trees. Like Tier Elements, quote unquote, Tier 0 format was a very difficult combo deck to play efficiently. You had so many lines of interaction, and if you're having to play through like multiple layers of interaction, you have to sequence your steps to your combo very specifically in order to like optimize the board that you're going to make, and there is a lot of skill doing that. Like I did used to enjoy watching people kind of like play through like interaction. I thought it was really fascinating to see their thought processes and see what lines they take in terms of building a combo board to establish a board. It wasn't nice to play against, especially in the Tier 0 format when I wasn't playing Tier. It was horrible. It was difficult to play against, but it did highlight the players that had exceptional Yu-Gi-Oh! Skill, because it was a very skillful thing to do, to be able to kind of like not know exactly what line you're going to take and having to change the lines that you're taking based on the interaction from your opponent. But Floodgates are somewhat needed, and the pace of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Game at the moment is so fast. They've had to dial it back a little bit with the most recent ban list, and that's what they've attempted to do. But even so, the game is still super duper fast. And if you're playing a deck here that doesn't attribute itself to the pace of the game, you're gonna get left behind. Now I'm thinking about Outlich as a bit of an example, in comparison to Labyrinth. Outlich used to be the best trap deck for a while, especially when you could mix it with so many other engines. Now it's seen as a bit more of a rogue deck because it's too slow, and you're seeing like Labyrinth that could potentially kind of like do things on its turn 0, go in second to start obviously snowballing the advantage, especially if they're playing like some of the furniture stuff like Q-Clock for example, and the Chandra Galea. You can like set cards and then activate them on turn 0, which is just absolutely crazy. So they are trying to give the speed to some of those slower decks, but Floodgates effectively gives a check and balance to the game, and I think that is needed, to be honest. There are some Floodgates which are super oppressive that just don't warrant themselves being in the game. Mystic Mind's just an obvious example. It got banned for a reason, and I think the reason why combo players dislike people just flipping Floodgates on them as well is because it promotes a non-game state. Like when Mystic Mind was legal, I've seen a few players like play through a couple of negations, not really like establish any kind of like board presence, go in second, and then just slap down Mystic Mind and just sit there. Like just sit there for turn after turn after turn, drawing cards, either waiting to draw into a specific card which will help them out the board, or just looking to deck your opponent out. And I'll be honest, as a spectacle, you don't just want to see your opponent drawing and passing and throwing cards in the graveyard. Like that's not what we've come to see, and it's a bit horrible. But without that, combo players will just run riot, and the option to play like a slower type of game just kind of goes out the window. So Floodgates are needed. just to kind of like just keep a check on the format. Now, there are a few things that are a bit questionable, like a Rise Heart, Kashtira Rise Heart, still in the format currently, only at 1, obviously on the most recent ban list, but he's a Floodgate with a form of interaction, a very powerful form of interaction. Banishing a card face down is very, very difficult to retrieve, whereas Zodiac Trident's banned for just being able to pop a card on field. But a Rise Heart also has the effect that it can attach banished cards, like face up or down, and it forces you to send every card to the banish zone, which is just absolutely crazy. So he's effectively a Floodgate, and he has floodgated a number of decks out of the meta. Like, he's pushed Bestials out for a start. I know Bestials were heavily reliant on your opponent playing Telements because of the prevalence of dark decks, but like, there's just so many things that like a Rise Heart has forbidden or just not allowed to come into the format just because of its Floodgate. And I think it's crazy that there's cards out there that can do that. But like I said, this Twitter thread's crazy. Like, Hardleg Joe is another YouTuber. If you don't know who he is, definitely try and go and check out his content. It's very interesting. But he's obviously replied to this thread, and he said, "This isn't the own they think it is. You're just angry because my deck takes no effort or skill to win and can't be interrupted. Yes, of course, I like games where plays happen and players have to be competent. I like decks that have counterplay. Who doesn't?" So he's kind of reiterating like what I think. I do think it's way more skillful, and it's better, a little bit more healthy if both players have an opportunity to kind of like have a little bit of a back and forth in setting up their board or trying to like have the opportunity to play. Whereas you've got some instances like when Fluendaries was a thing where they just set up barrier statue, which effectively just bought them another turn because you had to just beat over the barrier statue in your battle phase and then play in main phase 2 if you could, which I don't know, it's difficult, and if you didn't have the out to barrier statue, you literally just lost the game. So yeah, it's an interesting one. But what are your thoughts, ladies and gents? Definitely get at me in the comment section below. Do you think combo players hate Floodgates because it effectively is just what the combo deck is trying to achieve, but just by flipping it face up? Do you think Floodgates are needed in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh? Are there too many Floodgates, or are there not enough Floodgates? I know that the game's a little bit fast at the moment, so do you think we should introduce a few more just to kind of like slow it down even further? What are your thoughts? Get at me in the comment section below. And as always, we find ourselves at the end of another video. If you did enjoy this content, you know what to do by now, ladies and gents. Hit that like button, share, subscribe, all of that beautiful good stuff, and I will definitely see you guys on the next video. Hope you enjoyed. Peace.